If you can pick up on patterns, it will make painting urban landscapes a lot easier. What do I mean by that? For example, when I painted all the buildings here, I approached it by first figuring out the light pattern on a single building. I took this photo myself and I knew that the light was coming from the right side and it was early in the morning, so it was coming very straight on from the right side. I mean, you can see that very easily in this building here on the right side of the building. It's lit up, and the more you kind of go around the left of the building, the more in shadow it gets. So now I know that if I want to have a building in the sunlight, it's going to be the right side of the building that is getting the sunlight. So even when this area is just all one flat color, if I go in and just indicate a few of the buildings, just indicate the right side of a few of these buildings with that light color, it's already gonna start to read to some degree. And when I put these light shapes in, I'm really trying to think about putting them in vertically. And I know that they're gonna need to be pretty thin because just the angle that we're looking at them, we're not looking straight on the light side, it's angled and we're only seeing a side of that light side. I just wanna make sure that when I do put these shapes in that I'm using different size shapes. I don't wanna go in and put like the exact same size shape for every single one. Another pattern to pick up on are the tops of the buildings. A lot of areas you can see the tops of the buildings catching a lot of reflected light from the sky, so it shows up as a pretty light blue. So if I use horizontal stroke and go in and think about indicating just the tops of some of these roofs, also with the light side that I already put in, now it's really starting to read as buildings, and I haven't even done that much. I'm also making sure to keep these a lot softer the further in the distance they go. Now this urban landscape tutorial is actually from my beginner landscape course, which I just launched this week. And then I give my best landscape painting shortcuts that I've collected over the past 15 years of painting. You'll leave the course understanding how to translate a photo into a painting. And then I walk you through 3 full landscape paintings. I also have lectures, demos, and exercises in there on everything that you need to know to start painting some frame-worthy landscapes. And for a limited time, if you get the course, I also include a section on painting urban landscapes. I talk about painting cars, buildings, perspective, all that good stuff. And you'll also get this cityscape tutorial as well. Now, the version of the course with this bonus urban landscape section ends on Monday, November 20th. Also, after that, the price of the course is gonna go up, so you really don't wanna miss this. And the link to get the course is in the description of this video. All right, now back to this painting and blue rooftops. These blue rooftops, they're also gonna help you paint cars because it's kind of the same thing happening. There's a lot of blue light from the sky being reflected in the tops of these cars because they're metal and they're reflective. It's very helpful to think about painting cars like painting a box, and top of the box is gonna be reflecting whatever's happening in the sky. In this particular painting, it's blue sky, so there's a lot of blue. Tops of the car is also the hood, because the hood is also facing upwards. So just getting that in can really help you simplify and paint cars. I think you'll be surprised at how little you need to paint cars, like how little detail you actually need to get them to work. Another pattern with cars to understand is that there's always gonna be dark at the bottom because there's shadow underneath the car. So, establishing a good dark shadow underneath the car, like where the tires are, is also gonna help you paint cars very simply. Now, as I said before, picking up on these patterns is gonna require you to understand where the light is coming from. And since I know that, it also makes it a lot easier to make things up, which you're gonna need to do a lot of time just to get the scene and the composition and everything to work. For here, this light on the street was not in the photo, but I, remember if I would have stayed there like an extra 10 or 15 minutes, the sun would have got high enough that it would have shown over enough buildings and would have come through these side streets. And I really wanted to have that in the scene. I can just put that in. Like, I know the direction of the light and like kind of how it would hit, so why not put it in? And I could also use that going down the street, and it was a device that I used to help get the viewer's eye to move down this road that had these little beams of light shooting across it, going all the way back into the distance. You also can see like a lot of the city on the right side of the painting I kind of had to make up. And I was able to do that because I understood the light. I understood these buildings are just blocks. No matter how big or small or tall or short they are, they're all going to adhere to the same light structure. Anything facing the right is going to get light. Anything facing up is probably going to get that light blue from the sky. And I know if I can just get that going, I can get it to read. And as I continue to develop this painting and put it in more detail and making more decisions, I'm making these decisions based off of these patterns that I know that are happening. I'm not just like randomly putting in little marks and little things just to have details. Like there's a reason behind all of it. I'm putting certain colors in certain shapes in certain areas for certain reasons. And it all comes back to understanding patterns. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, you'll probably really like my landscape painting course. Again, if you want to check that out, the link to that is in the description of this video. I'm Chris Fornatero here telling you to go get painting.